Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Megumi Byrne, and I'm a marketing and sales rep for IALC in Japan. For some of you who might not be so familiar with IALC, please let me tell you that we are a non-profit organization that accredits and represents independent and quality language schools that teach the official language of their country. Currently, there are about 140 accredited schools in 20 countries, covering 10 languages. Today, we're presenting a French school in Canada called Edu-inter. We have Carlos from the school to do the presentation for us. It'll be about 30 minutes long. But before that, let me quickly go through some points to note so that we all have a seamless webinar experience. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. We'll have time for questions and answers at the end. We'll also send you a recording of this session later so that you can review what's being talked about or shown. And in case the internet goes down, please try to rejoin to see if we can connect again. Now, I hope we can turn the time over to Carlos. Can you take over, Carlos, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you all for being here today. Well, tonight for me, morning for you guys. So as Megumi mentioned, I'm going to talk about Quebec and mainly my school, Edu-inter in Quebec City. So I'm going to show you a part of a video so we can start talking about the destination, and then after that, we'll get into the program as it is. Okay, so this is our beautiful Quebec City. The easiest way to explain how Quebec City is, it's a city that it's divided in two. Actually, we have the old city where you're seeing the part of the castle and the history, the French history. So it's like a small piece of Europe here in North America. So that's the half of the city, and the other half of the city is more modern, actually, and it's similar to a North American city. So with the buildings and the transportation and all of that North America is known for. So students that come to our city actually get the both of both worlds, the best of both worlds. So they get the historical part and the traditional part, obviously the French, because it's a French-speaking city, but they get also the Canadian part or the English part or the North American part. And obviously nature is a big factor here in Quebec. So actually nature is only 50 minutes away. So it's a wonderful place, and I'll be speaking a lot about the activities and everything we have to do, because Quebec, as the video states, it's a four season destination. What does this mean? It means that it doesn't matter at what time during the year you come, there's always something to do. So if you come in the summer, we have the music festivals or the circus shows. If you come in the winter, we have all of the winter sports. You can ski, you can snowboard. You saw this dog sledding, you can ice skate. If you come in the fall, like right now we're in the fall, the colors are amazing, and there's a lot of things to do regarding apple picking and all sorts of food-related products. And if you come in the spring, well, then it's all of the nature part again. So it's quite amazing. It's very cultural as a destination. And one important thing, it's a student destination. You can imagine the amount of colleges and universities that are in the city. What this allows is that the cost of living in Quebec City is actually cheaper than most of the other major cities here in Canada. So if you compare Quebec City to a Montreal, to an Ottawa, to a Toronto, or a Vancouver, obviously, the cost of living is less here than in those cities, because all of the services are adapted to the student community. So just give me a second, I'll pass through to the next one. And let's start this one. Perfect. So For those of you who don't know where is Quebec City, here's our map. So if you look at Canada, it's going to be on the eastern part of the country. We're actually just 45 minutes away by car from the United States. So we're very near the eastern coast of the United States. It's actually a 1-hour plane ride to New York City. So we're very near. As I mentioned, for Quebec City, it's a World Heritage Site from UNESCO due to the old part of the city. One of the safest cities in the world. It actually was top 3 safest in the world in 2019. 100% French-speaking city. Because of the immersion aspect, students actually learn French more rapidly here than in other destinations, because it's they even if they're not in class, there's a lot of possibilities of practicing their language. I already mentioned the cost of living and the events. Sincerely, that's one of the main selling points for international students. They are never bored. There's always something to do. And that's an important point to keep in mind when you have an interest in a destination as Canada, or in this case, Quebec specifically. Students always have something to do. It doesn't matter if they're more artistic or if they're more into sports. There's always some type of activity here in Quebec. So that's a unique selling point, to be honest, and to be able to offer students something different, not just the classes or a special campus. We have a lot of different things, okay? Let's start speaking a little bit more about our school. So our school is called Edu-inter. Obviously, because we're in Quebec City, we specialize in French programs. So we have all type of programs, and during the presentation, I'm going to speak about our junior programs, summer camps and high school programs, and also about our language programs. And towards the end, I'll touch into pathway programs for those of you interested in knowing about our pathway options to higher education colleges here in the Quebec area. Okay, so 15 years experience. We have all of the accreditations that we can have as a language school. We are obviously IALC members, and since a while back, more than 2,000 students from 43 different countries. We are actually the largest French private school in all of Canada. So we have students from all over. We have a great nationality mix from our students. Just to give you an idea, 25% of our students come from the United States. And I can prove to you, and I can guarantee no other school has that mix. Why? Because we're the most popular school for Americans, so they come a lot. So your students, and you don't have to have an issue that you're gonna find a lot of students from one specific nationality. It's truly a real immersion. So that helps a lot with our students, okay? Where are we located? We have a great advantage is that we actually share our campus with a college, a local college that's called Mary C. College. The advantage of sharing our campus with them is that all of the facilities inside of the campus are free access for our students as well. So your students, in this case that you send to us, will be treated as college students. So the gym, the lounges, the library, everything is free access for our students as well. And they get to interact, because they're in our local campus, with local Quebecers or local students from Quebec. So that's an added feature from going to study with us. Our college is actually, or our school is located 5 minutes away from the old city. It's downtown Quebec. So literally students walk all over. And it's filled with coffee houses and restaurants, and literally it's walking distance from everywhere they need to go. Okay, so that's very interesting. And another thing that you have to know about us, we never close. We have intakes literally every Monday of the year. The school only closes some Mondays, like 5 to 6 Mondays, depending on national holidays. The rest of the year, we are open, so you can literally send us students whenever you want. We're very flexible on that, okay? So let's start talking about the junior programs, and I'm going to start with our summer program. Okay, so first off, our summer camp. So who can come to the summer camp? It's for all students from 10 to 17 years old. This is very important. They don't need to speak French to come to the summer camp. Most of our students start from zero. So no need to worry. If they don't have French, they can come to our school. We have a great system to help them out and to give them the tools to learn French from zero. If they speak some English, even if they don't speak English, they can come to a school. Believe us, the immersion part works. So no need to speak French to come. If they already speak some French, what we do is we'll test them. We have two tests. We'll send them a placement test. That way we can determine their level at the moment of the trip. And once they're here, what we're going to do is we're going to have them have a small conversation with one of our teachers. That way we can determine their oral expression level. And with both tests, we're going to be able to integrate them to one of our 7 levels. Okay, so we use the same levels as any school in France or in Switzerland. So ABC, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So they're going to be placed in one of those levels that it's used in the European Common Framework of Languages, okay? So it's very easy to determine the student's level. This is our summer camp option. So if you worked with summer camps in the past, you know that the traditional one or the most popular one is French and multi-activities. So it's French language in the morning, 3 hours per day. And in the afternoon, students go and do activities. Every single day, I'll give you an example in a little bit. Every single day, it's a different activity for the multi-activity program. But on top of this, we have 8 other options for our students, depending on what they want or what they like. So if they're more artistic, we have dramatic arts, we have cooking, we have music, we have circus, because Cirque du Soleil comes from here in Quebec. If they're more into sports, we have French and soccer, we have hockey, obviously, tennis, and horseback riding. So what we give students are different options so they can combine French learning with specific activities in the afternoon. If your students usually don't know what to do, what we recommend is multi-activities. They'll love it. Every single day is something different. You can even combine weeks. So 1 week, your student can do multi-activity. The second week, they can go to the French and circus. The third week, we can do music. So we can mix and match. So students really get a great experience here in Quebec. Okay. At the bottom part, you can see just an example of a schedule for a specific week. So students in the morning are going to take the French courses. After that, there's 45 minutes to an hour for lunch, obviously. And in the afternoon, depending on their activity, they'll go and do the activities. Okay. So we're known for our flexibility, and second, for creating like tailor-made experience for our students as well. So just contact us and we can give you the tools to do this as well. Okay. Accommodation. So for summer camp students, we actually have two options. We have a homestay experience and we have a student residence experience. Obviously, for the homestay, it's an extra immersion. So students get to share an extra experience with a local family. They'll have their private room and share the rest of the family, the rest of the apartment or the house with the family. They have their 3 meals and they'll learn a lot about the local culture, and they'll take public transportation. It's very safe, it's very easy. We'll show them how to do it. If they are maybe a little bit more shy or they have trouble making friends, the student residence is a great idea. Why? Because they're always with our camp counselors 24/7. There's always someone from the school who's going to be with them. Most of the students are there, so they'll have friends and they'll make friends more easily. They'll be in a room with other international students, the same gender and the same age. That's going to facilitate the communication. And there's extra activities as well. So it really depends on the personality of the student, if they want to do homestay or they want to do the student residence. Both options are great. They'll love either one. It really depends on what the student wants to do or what the parents want their child or their teenager to experience. Some examples of the activities that are possible. We'll go whale watching, we'll do water park, we'll go to Montreal for a weekend. Students who come in the first 2 weeks of July get the possibility of going to concerts. We have the Montmorency Falls. So for your information for next year, before I go into the next program, next year, our summer camp program is going from the end of June, so June 26th, until the end of July, July 31st. So it's going to be 5 total weeks, but your students can come 1, 2, 3, or 4, or the whole camp. So it really depends. They can start at any Monday and maximum of 5 weeks. So just keep in mind, end of June until the end of July. Okay. Let's talk about high school. So we, as well as the largest French school, we've developed relationships with different institutions, and we actually are in charge of international recruitment for almost most of the high schools here in Quebec City as well. So we actually have 4 different options at this time for high school. We have 2 English high schools, and we have 2 French options as well. So I'll explain first how the English one works, and then I'll explain the French. So first off, this program is very popular among international students. Why? Because students actually get to go to school, or get to go to a school where everything is given in English. So it's in a total immersion in English, 8 hours a day. So mathematics, science, everything is in English. But what's the advantage of coming to Quebec, a French-speaking city? If you're doing everything in English, you're gonna get, first off, extra French classes inside of your curriculum. You're gonna have a private tutor for French, and this is the best part. You're gonna be able to stay with a bilingual family. At the beginning, the family will only speak in English, but after a couple of weeks, they'll switch to French. What's the advantage? After a couple of months, the student will perfect their English because they're in an English environment inside of the school, but they'll learn French because they're in a French environment once they're outside of the school. So believe me that there's a lot of places in the world where you can go perfect the language and at the same time bring back another one. So it's very popular among international students. The schools are great. Very important as well, only 5% international students. What does this mean? That the immersion is mainly with local students from Canada. So 95% of the students come from here, and they speak only English. They're Canadians from other provinces. Only 5% international. So that guarantees that the student will be in a real immersion. Okay, the facilities are great. The English requirement is B1. That's an intermediate level. So we can evaluate the student before, and we can propose a couple of options in case the student doesn't have the appropriate level. Just some of the activities that are offered in the school. Again, this is very important here in Quebec. Activities are very important. It's the best way for students to get to know each other and to learn about the local culture. Again, anything the student wants, if they're more into sports, if they're more into culture, all of the options are there as well, okay? Important dates, how does the calendar work here? The school year starts in end of August, and it's divided in trimesters. So August to November, then December to February, and then March to June. That's usually how it works. You can send us the students from, there's 3 possibilities, 4 months, 6 months, or 10 months. 4 months from August to December, 6 months from January to June, or the whole year. Accommodation, 100% bilingual homestay family. The language requirement, again, is B1. I'll leave you guys the price just to give you an idea of what it costs. I'll show you in a little bit what does it include. And again, everything is in English, but there's French support classes, there's a French private tutor, and bilingual family. So students will come back speaking French. And that's the main selling point or the additional feature that not other English programs have. It's the French part, and that's the magic of this program, okay? Same thing, we have it in French. What's the difference? Everything is in French. So all the subjects are in French. They'll take English as the subject, but everything is in French. Both schools are wonderful as well. Great facilities. At the end of my presentation, you'll see the websites, and you can go and visit and you can see for yourself. It's the same calendar. The difference here is regarding the French, we need them in A2 in French. Same as the other case, if the student wants to do it in French, doesn't yet have the level, let us know. We can organize a plan for the student to come before the actual starting date for those programs, and they can intensify their French learning with us. Some of the programs as well that you can take here in those high schools. Again, there's a lot of variety of programs. So it's up to the students to decide what do they want to do with us. The same date, calendars work same in English or in French schools. They start at the end of August and they finish in June. And you can do 4, 6, or 10 months. Here, the difference is that the family is 100% French speaking. So they'll speak at French at all times because this is a program to organize and to facilitate French learning for the students. Again, we need an A2 language level. If not, they can arrive at an earlier date and take classes with us before. The prices are there as well. This program has a French tutor as well that will be with the student until the student acquires the necessary level to function and to have good grades at the school, okay? What are the advantages of working through us or for our high school program? It's our VIP program. So everything is available for our students. We have someone who literally is 24/7 available for our high school. We have an emergency number, anything they need, if they got lost, if they need something specific, if they need to go to the clinic, they're gonna have a specific person to help them out during their whole stay, okay? We help you guys out with everything. So at the end of the school year, or at the end of their trimester or their semester, we'll give you everything you need to help validate the grades obtained here. That way they don't have any issues once they go back, okay? Everything is top notch. Again, it's our VIP program. Very important, if a student stays for the whole year, the first trimester only counts for 20%. Why? Because we want students to still get better and the rest of the year. So in case it's a little bit more difficult at the beginning because it's a new country, a new school, new friends, new family. So it takes them a while to adapt. So the first part, it's only 20%. If they have a bad trimester, it doesn't matter as much because they'll be able to regroup and have better grades at a later date, okay? What does the fees that you thought before include? Registration, school fees, the Quebec acceptance certificate. So we need to do that before the visa process. Pick up at the airport, obviously the accommodation, the meals, insurance, the academic and social reports, cultural activities, the French tutorage, English classes if needed, and everything you need to validate the student's grades once he goes back. Okay, so that's the high school program. And these are our year-round adult programs. So these ones are from students who are 16 years and older. These classes are, or these programs, sorry, are available all year round. Every single Monday, you can send us a student. Okay, these are always available. Core French, Intensive French, and Super Intensive French, those are our base programs. The difference among them is the amount of hours or the intensity of the program. So Core French is 3 hours per day, Intensive is 4.5 hours per day, Super Intensive is 5.5 to 6 hours per day. So it really depends on the student. Our way of teaching the language we concentrate on oral expression. The main competence that we offer our students is oral expression, and for them to lose that fear maybe of speaking, making mistakes. And we know that's the hardest part of learning a new language is communicating. So our programs emphasize communicative learning and oral expression exercises. So we get a lot of that. So usually students like that because there's always conversational workshops, and that helps out a lot. We've also developed during the pandemic, obviously, our virtual classes. There we have evening sessions that are available as well. So for us, it would be evening. For you guys, it would be in the morning. So if you have students that are really motivated to learn, they can enroll in our virtual French classes and then after come and have experience in an in-person program with one of our teachers or in the group classes as well. We have other types of programs like French and music, French and volunteering, that has become very popular among our students. It's French in the morning, and in the afternoon, we actually send our students to do volunteer work here in the city, in a hospital, in a community center, in an event, in different places. That way they can have real experience with local Quebecers, people from Quebec, and practice their French. So it's really interesting for students who come several months, so they can start with the French, and once they feel that they're stronger, we actually send them and do volunteer work. We can do exam preparation as well, all types of exams. We can prepare them for higher education as well, and we can do private courses, obviously. In the summer, we have specific programs like French for teachers, French and cooking, and even French and dramatic arts. For those students who want to combine academic learning with something extra, something different. That way they still have fun during the summer. For lodging options, we have same as for the teenagers, we have a homestay option where students can decide their meal plan, breakfast and dinner, or full board with everything they want. We have residence for adults. We have apartments, we have private apartments. So accommodation actually is very easy here in Quebec City because it's a student city. So we have actually a lot of options. So just tell us what you're looking for and we'll help you look out for it, okay? We have activities as well. We actually have an activities coordinator that's gonna help students do different things during the school year. So we actually have a big board in the school, and actually students decide at what time, what type of activities they do during the week. So they're optional and they're not expensive. So students are always occupied, and we encourage students to go to the activities because it's a great way of practicing the language and getting to know other students as well. Okay, so to finish, I'm going to speak a little bit about our pathway options. So here in Quebec, we do is we not only help students with the French, we actually signed more than 25 different agreements with different colleges and higher education institutions here in Quebec. So we can offer pathway programs for students who finish their French language studies can continue at the higher education level. Okay, obviously, most of our options for higher education, I'll show you a list, are in French, but we have English options as well in Montreal specifically, okay? So we have two options for our students. First option, they come here, they only take the French, and once they're here, we help them find a different option, and they can extend their study permit. That's one option. The second option is that from Japan, they already choose their higher education program. In that case, what we do is we help them enroll right away to a higher education program, and the higher education program is going to, the official letter is going to include the French portion of the program. So students already come with a package program in one acceptance letter. So it's very interesting for students because it saves a lot of time and they already know the whole program and their whole project as it is, okay? what are the advantages of taking our pathway programs? First off, as the school doesn't close, you can send the students at any time so they can start their French program whenever they're ready. We can test them if they need. Certain colleges are going to demand a test. We have constant monitoring of our students, so they have a specific plans according to their French progress. So that's very important to know. We do everything, so everything goes through us. So you guys don't need to go and contact the university or the college. Everything goes through us. So you send us the papers and we'll help you out with the acceptance letter. And as mentioned before, the accommodation options, we can get accommodation for the student and offer different options without any issue, okay? So just an example of the list. If you're interested, I'll give you my email at the end, and then you can just write to me and I'll send you the complete list. We have over 175 different programs already in the province, not only in Quebec City. Okay, so you're gonna get the program, you're gonna get the institute, the starting dates, and the total cost of the program, depending on what you're looking for. So we have different options in health, engineering, IT, obviously, education, we're all over. So anything you need, if your student needs a higher education option in English or in French in the Quebec region, let us know. Edu-inter is there to help you out, okay? And for those of you, for students who want to eventually stay after the studies to work, and why not ask for a permanent resident options, our programs usually allow students to stay after to work, okay? So I'm not getting into this, but eventually, if you want to do a more personalized training, I can explain how it works and the amount of workforce that Quebec needs at this time. And it's so big, and we need a lot of international students to stay. So there's a lot of advantages right now for international students regarding financial help, to study certain languages, to stay. If they come with their spouse or their children, there's advantages on that regard as well. So there's a lot of things happening in Quebec at this time. The main thing to keep in mind is that if they choose Quebec, they have to learn French. So that's why we're here. That's why Edu-inter is here. And so let us help you out with that process as well. Just before I finish, and I'll give you the information and the contact information. You have our email there, info@edu-inter.net, and you have all of the other websites that you can visit as well, the high school and our site as well. For next year, if you guys are interested in higher education, just rapidly, there's a project that has been approved from the Quebec government that's going to allow international students that want to come here and study higher education in French. The Quebec government is going to have a financial aid for these students, and they're going to pay like if they were local students. So here, international students pay 3 and 4 times what a local student pays. Starting from next year, for certain programs, we're going to get them soon. You're only going, international students will only pay as a local student. So we're talking about a semester in between 1,500 and 2,500. So it's not that expensive, and it's to encourage students to study higher education in French. So if you have students that are interested, have them start with the French, and we can help them out. And eventually we will help them out with the higher education options as well. Okay, so you have all of this information. Anything you need regarding the Quebec province, again, count with Edu-inter. We'll be more than happy to help you out with all the process. Again, my name is Carlos Uchima, and the name of the school is Edu-inter, and we're in Quebec City. So thank you again for your time, and I'm available if you have any questions. More than happy to help you out with that.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. Thank you for the beautiful presentation and exciting news. Now, we'll go ahead and take some time for questions. If you have any questions, please be sure to type them into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel at the bottom of your screen. Do we have any questions, please? Looks like there are no questions sent in from the agents today. Can we go ahead and be done with the question Q&A session? Okay, well, Carlos, looks like we don't have any questions from the agents, but is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we wrap up?
Yeah, so again, Edu-inter, it doesn't matter the type of student that you have, it be a junior or an adult student, language or higher education, and I guarantee that we have an option and we can help you out in the process. So again, anything you need in the Quebec province, Edu-inter is there, and also through IALC. And thank you again for all the support and the help in organizing everything. And hopefully, if you want to visit as well, let me know. We would love having you visit our campus. It really makes a difference when you can come to the school and visit our wonderful city. So count on that as well. And thank you again and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Carlos, for being with us today. I know it's late for you in the evening. Really appreciate it. And many thanks to our valued agents for joining us today and also watching the recording. We appreciate you being here. And I hope your knowledge of Edu-inter has been expanded by this webinar. But if you have any questions, we encourage you to get in touch with us by email. We are more than happy to provide support. Thanks again and bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night, Carlos. Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.
Good day.
Bye.
Bye.